you do not need a 4-year degree to be successful in 2024 and beyond. And yes, I do understand that it may come off as contradictory or hypocritical given that I myself have a 4-year degree. However, looking back, I do realize now work-based learning opportunities can do for an individual, especially because we have great community colleges where you can earn a 2-year degree, credential, or certification in a number of areas that can directly lead you into your career path. The one company I was working at was enrolling high school students into community college courses around the Adobe Creative Suites. For example, Photoshop, Lightroom, and Premiere Pro, just to name a few of those. And now what I learned there was that these high school students were able to enroll in these community college courses, earn credits for both their high school diploma as well as credits for a community college. Now, what's important here is that this video is meant for a majority of younger folks, 16 to 24-year-olds, have a more keen interest on using their hands and building things or are interested in computers. And on top of that, what's really interesting and I think we miss is that it really doesn't cost much to get up and running and started in these type of careers versus going to a 4-year degree. You're taking out student loans, you're in debt $30,000, and you don't know post-graduation if there's a job out there for you, because either your skills and or your degree are not directly applicable, especially early on in your career. You just don't have the job experience that is needed for you to make a compelling case to a potential employer why they should hire you. Now, there was a time, especially when I was growing up, where a 4-year degree was heavily pushed and emphasized as a ticket to being successful in life. And I think now we're realizing that that was not completely true. Not that 4-year degrees are obsolete and not necessary. They are absolutely necessary. And there are a lot of careers that necessitate a 4-year degree and beyond. However, if we're looking at the bulk of job opportunities and career paths, a lot of it comes down to what you know, because at the end of the day, they want to know that you can do the job based on previous experience versus someone who's coming out of a university with a 4-year degree with no job experience. The employer, I would think, would look at someone with job experience more favorably, how do I say that? And rank them higher versus someone who just come out of a university with just a bachelor's. And I think now we're starting to see a shift more towards skills-based versus education-based, because I think now employers are thinking experience over education. And the reason why I say this is because having met with many employers in different industries, and granted, yes, when I say many, talking about a handful, manufacturing, hospitality, IT, and what I've heard from many of them is that they have a hard time finding talent. Many times it's because A, they just don't have the skill set, or B, they hire somebody and they stop showing up with no forewarning. That's a big problem, especially because if you're trying to run a business or provide services, you need to count on the people that you're hiring. Now, another perspective I heard from many employers was that they weren't always looking for someone that had all the technical skills, but rather what they were looking for was someone that would be dependable, because it would solve at least one of those issues. And if they hired somebody that they knew would be dependable, they can spend the time training them those hard skills, the technical skills while they're on the job. Because again, if they know this individual is going to be reliable, then they're more than willing to spend the time with them to ensure that they are up to speed and can perform the job to the best of their ability. Now, that sort of is contradictory or doesn't necessarily align with what I was saying as it relates to you can go to a community college or other technical training programs and earn a certificate or certification. At the very least, it's giving you the leg up as far as the training. Now, the other side of the coin, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, is that are you reliable? Do you have the necessary soft skills to be successful, like communication, adaptability, willingness to work on a team, and learn from mistakes, and all the different intangible things that you don't necessarily learn in a training program per se, but rather where you learn that is on the job. And that's really where it comes full circle for me, is that it took me 4 years longer essentially to learn the necessary soft skills to be successful. Yes, I had education. That didn't mean that I knew how to work within a team and be adaptable and problem solve, have the proper communication, both written and verbally. And I mentioned before that I was not great at public speaking. So again, it goes back to, do you have time put into a job where you're learning all these different skills? And I think a lot of times that first job is sort of your first exposure to all the different aspects of being on the job and what it looks like to be responsible, to show up on time, put in the hours necessary to be successful. And a lot of times that entry-level job isn't the most fun and high-paying job, but it's necessary for you to get into that entry-level job, learn those skills, and add that into your repertoire so that as you're advancing your career, you have a foundation, a baseline of the skills necessary to be successful. And then from that point, yes, you can go back to school and earn additional certification or certificates or go get your bachelor's and master's, but rather that's along the way versus front loading all that education, then going into the workforce and realizing that you don't have all the real world learning. You can read things in the books or have discussions in your classes and write these papers and know theory and understand different concepts. But when you're actually putting that into practice, it's a whole different thing. And that's a really hard lesson to learn for many of us that don't go into the workforce out of high school or even after 2 years in a community college or technical training program. And I think what will help a lot of us start work earlier, and especially if you're younger, is that you have to put yourself out there, because if not, you don't know what opportunities are available to you. The opportunities there are pretty much endless, especially when you factor in the ability for you to network with professionals and learn from those that have been in the workforce a lot longer than you and perhaps will be willing to mentor you and provide you insights and as far as the skills and the different nuances of being in the workforce. I think it's important for me to point out that not going to a 4-year university does not mean that you won't be successful or that you can't be successful. I think really what I'm trying to say here is that going to a 2-year program, whether that's community college and or going through a technical training program, it's just another option available to you. And I think we don't, and perhaps I don't know, but it doesn't seem as though I don't think it's talked about in such a positive way. And I want to make it a positive topic because I think it's important that we show the younger population that hard work really does make the difference between being successful and not being successful. And it's interesting because it really does come down to your work ethic and start at those entry-level jobs. I think employers really do see that. And it doesn't mean that you're always going to work for somebody else. You never know. One day you can open up your own business and hire people and be a business owner and an entrepreneur. And that's something that you can figure out later down the line, but you always got to start somewhere. I also really want to emphasize that it's really up to you how you want to define success for yourself. I think a lot of times we have outside influences that tell us what our life should look like, and what we really need to lean on is what our gut feeling is and what really interests us and what drives us every single day. And I think a lot of times we don't know what that is because other people are telling us what we should be doing, or for many of us, like myself, we just don't know what our true passion is or what we want to grow up to be. We all get the question as a young child, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I think it's an important question because there's a lot of people out there that do know what they want to be when they grow up. And they spend the rest of their time dedicating themselves to that. That is what it looks like to be successful. Spending the time day in and day out to do what it is that you love doing. Now, to sort of summarize my thoughts here, I really just wanted to emphasize that, again, a 4-year university is not the only path, or is it the path that makes sense for most people. I think going to a community college or a technical education program, it is the best path for a majority of people, because at the end of the day, what really matters is what you want to do and the work that you want to put in and what you want your career to look like. You should be able to define what success looks like for you. I would really like to hear from you in the comment section as far as what your opinion is or what your experiences were if you went to a community college or if you went directly to a free university, if you entered the workforce while in high school or after graduating high school, or what that looked like for you. It'd just be interesting to hear the different perspectives on this topic. I appreciate you stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one. All right.